Hello everyone and welcome back to FreezeMe, and first things first, I checked and there is a QA section in the credits. So someone tested this game, they just all decided that level was a good idea. Anyway, right now we're here to collect the green coins, because of course Fat the Cat's Den has green coins of its own. This green coin is situated on top of this tower, and we have to freeze all the platforms ahead of time before we press the switch, because when we press the switch, a timer starts. And when the timer runs down, the cage will reappear, and we can no longer grab the green coin. So we need to move pretty fast. If we goof up though, we can just restart. So that's one of the easiest ones. Now full disclosure, my brother was watching me play this part, and he said it was a really simple physics puzzle and proceeded to explain it to me. But I still have absolutely zero idea what I did to get that green coin, so don't ask me how I did it or how I figured it out, because apparently I'm too dumb to know. Next up is a challenge that I actually can understand. The idea is just to shoot all of the colorful enemies with our camera, and if we shoot all of the colorful enemies in a row, then the green coin appears. The weird thing about this is that they don't all have to be frozen at the same time, you just have to shoot all three of them at least once. And not hit any of the red ones, of course. And it's a really odd challenge, because if you have even a basic grasp of the controls, it's no problem. I'm sure it would be even more child's play on the Wii U version where you could just tap the tablet. Now there are actually only 2 more green coins inside this world, because it is a small world. That being said, we're still going to have to collect 150 red coins. Now this is the trickiest of the challenges. We have to freeze all of the blocks when they're facing blue. But when we point our camera at the blocks, it highlights a different block than the one we're actually pointing at. Not only is this incredibly weird, but as you might have noticed, when we point our camera at something, it changes the color, which makes it difficult to tell which side is blue at what time. I actually did have to step back and reorient myself here, because this one can be a little bit confusing. But it's not like you're gonna die or have to restart the level or anything, it's just a little bit time consuming depending on how long it takes you to figure it out. With that embarrassing little thing out of the way, it's time for the final green coin of the level, or world, whichever you prefer. And we're gonna fly over to it, because it is just right down here. And this one took me a bit, but the idea here is to freeze one of the meteors in its pathway, so that way a second meteor runs into it and blows up the blocks. So the green coins in this world aren't all that bad. They're cute, gimmicky, and sometimes a little bit confusing, but they're not all that bad, especially since you have about forever to figure them out. There's no rush or anything like that. Now what do you say we go cash in those green pig coins, and then we start the next montage?
On.
Hey, so it's time for the very final challenge. We have all 40 golden cubes, and we need to take out Fat the Cat for good. In order to do this, we have to give all 40 golden cubes to this statue over here. It was a long and sometimes slightly frustrating journey, but we did it, and now we just have to worry about the final boss. Or so you'd think. But of course it's not that simple, and we have to deal with the most harrowing platforming in the entire game in order to reach him. And if we screw up at the boss, well, we have to restart all the platforming. There is actually a very simple solution to this entire thing that I'm embarrassed didn't occur to me. I only found out about it in a YouTube video after I had already completed the game, but if you climb all the way up to that falcon sitting in the volcano where we fought Fat the Cat the first time, you can just fly straight to the Fat the Cat fight. Or rather, you can fly straight to the platform that leads to the Fat the Cat fight, but that's pretty much the same thing. And you won't have to worry about any of this in the process. And this is kinda hard. As I've already said way back in the second video, it's really difficult to do the whole curved jumping thing, so the game wants you to pretend it's two-dimensional for this bit, but you can still pull off the curved jumps if you try really hard. And I'm not even sure what they want you to do about this one, so we're just gonna jump right past it. We're very near the end now, so all we have to do is fly past these windmills of death. It helps to freeze a couple of them, the ones most obviously in your pathway. Because if they hit you, they will knock you far off course, and you'll be screwed. There we go, that was relatively painless, and I only had to cut out, like, several deaths. This is actually the easiest part of the whole platforming challenge. The camera angle is the most difficult thing about it. Well, wait, I guess that opening section with the other falling platforms was slightly easier, but that doesn't really count, because it was too easy, I think. As always, these things rumble, and it can knock you off your game, but aside from that, you're in the clear pretty much. And now this little platform elevator thing will take us to the final Fat the Cat fight. Very slowly. We worked a long, hard time to get here. It was a lot longer and harder for me than it was for you, but trust me, it was a thing. It was really difficult to go and find all those green coins. Now we just have to manage to not fuck up while flying to the planet.
Chew bad, poop bad, chew bad, poop, chew poop, poop, poop bad, chew bad, chew poop, chew beat bad, chew bad, poop, 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 poop.
So do you remember the first Fat the Cat fight? Well, I don't know quite what you expected, but here's the same thing again. Of course, there are a couple of differences. This time, instead of staying relatively close to the ground when he's vulnerable, he flies up way faster, which means you need to use this platform to bounce up to him. Which also means you have a lot less time to hit him. Even more important than that, though, is the fact that the battlefield is rounded this time, which makes it way harder to keep track of the guy. Having to use a bouncing platform to reach him, just a minor inconvenience compared to how difficult it is to actually catch up with the fucking guy. Especially when you get hit and lose your rage power. Like that. Now we don't run nearly as fast, which makes catching up to him and keeping track of him way harder. All this really means, though, is that the fight is going to take way longer, and if you die at this fight, it's probably because of your own impatience, and not just because the fight is, you know, naturally difficult. Because I died for that reason. It's also really irritating when he suddenly makes a U-turn while you're chasing behind him, but it's a lot easier to get out of the way than you would think. Unless, again, you're being impatient. Which it's really easy to get impatient during this fight. There's also the second half of the fight where meteors start raining from the sky again. And I mean, we gotta be running out of sky, right? Surely we're nearly in space. I really think they should let us see exactly where those meteors are coming from. Anyway, this is the final boss. The game's almost over, and it's mostly a test of patience. If you made it this far, I doubt you're gonna screw up now, and even if you do, you're probably not gonna give up, because you just went around and collected all those green coins, which took forever. Thank you all for sticking with me on this weird little journey, and if you feel like playing it for yourself, keep aware of some of the things I said were potentially frustrating, because they were very frustrating for me, and I have a lot of patience toward video games. But if, in spite of those things, you still want to play it, then you should. I think you should definitely support what this guy is doing. And even if you don't like 3D platformers, he's making a weird Resident Evil style roguelike, so you should go look at that. It's called Vaccine. And you can support him that way. But this is still a really cool game in its own right, and it's a little frustrating, it has some issues, but it definitely captures the spirit of Mario, and that's what I wanted from a 3D platformer. And that's why things like Yooka-Laylee or Clive and Wrench just aren't very appealing to me, because they're not that weird brand of selectively linear and gimmicky that Mario is. But that's pretty much all I had to say about FreezeMe, so I'll see you guys next time.
Bad boop, F boop, chew, 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 F chew, bad chew, beat, bad chew, boop, beat, chew, boop, bad boop, chew, F beat, chew, F boop, bad beat, bad, F chew, beat, boop, chew, bad chew, bad beat, bad, F beat, F bad beat, F chew.